Welcome back to the channel. It's been probably about 2 weeks since I dropped a video, but you know, with the holidays, Christmas, all that. The goal is every Wednesday, every Saturday, you get a video. But you know, obviously, holidays is gonna change things up. Last video, obviously, when we doing stuff, right? I record these straight raw, no cut and no clips, none of that. So I always end up like realizing stuff that isn't supposed to work the way that it's working, and I gotta go fix it. So we're gonna talk about the stuff that I fixed first, and then we're gonna talk about the new stuff that I added, which honestly isn't much because, like I said, I've been gone. So first thing we fixed though is we using Cinemachine now. We are using Cinemachine. The camera is no longer a child object of the player, which it was originally. It's no longer a child object of the player. It has an actual Cinemachine brain. It moves around like it's supposed to. It does what it's supposed to do. So the problem we were having with the physics, shifting the camera and shifting the visuals, shifting all that, no longer a problem. The camera follows the player perfectly. And we even have two separate Cinemachines, one for aiming and one for just regular looking. The aim camera is supposed to start off inactive. Then we go to the regular camera. They have almost the same stats, right? So this is the regular camera. I'm using the third person follow camera. I was having a difficult time doing the transition between like just having the camera as part of the main body and using Cinemachine, trying to like bridge that gap. But what we did was we went to the starter asset that Unity had, and we did some research, looked at what they did for their first person camera, and took some notes. We came back and we realized that using like POV or all those other stuff it doesn't work as well. Best thing to do is just use a third person follow camera and just turn all of the settings to 0. That'll put it exactly where you want. And then when you drop your player follow camera as the follow target, then it gives you the first person feel without having to use the first person camera. You can use the third person camera. And then you change the distance to negative. I changed the distance to negative 0.2, so the camera isn't clipping through the player's body. And then for the aim camera, we changed it up a little bit because when you aim, the camera will move, so it moves it back a little bit, moves it up a little bit. It just changes it up a little bit, but it all works. It works exactly how it worked before. Honestly, it works better because now the camera doesn't shift everywhere whenever I'm trying to do something. So another thing we talked about in the last video was how on our weapon holster script, we had a function called get ammo capacity. We'll pull it up so it's bigger. Just gotta make sure to close it out because I be forgetting to close it out sometimes. We have a function called get ammo capacity. If you go look at the last video, this function just called itself, which doesn't make sense. Like, we're not using recursion. Like, what are we doing here? But we fixed it to where it actually get the actual ammo capacity that you're supposed to have, which is, the magazine size times 11. So you have one magazine and you have 11 reserves. We fixed that. That was really simple. Well, it wasn't. It was simple. I can't say it wasn't simple. Now let's talk about our weaponsmith. So our weaponsmith, we had these values for the upgrade cost, the upgrade stuff, right? You see how we use really good naming tactics where everything's named exactly what it is, and we hard-coded these values so they'll never move. But because they're up here, down here it's so much more readable. Now we actually have the logic to where when we do upgrade the weapons, the rarity or the level, right? It actually subtracts the money. Like, we actually are paying for the weapon right here. We're actually going to spend the money. Like, it was checking if we had the money, but it wasn't spending the money. So we added that in. I'm not going to say that was an oversight on my part. I think I just was trying to get to the next thing and I overlooked that a little bit. So our weapon holster, though, before we would create the starting weapon. So we create the starting weapon through code. Everyone's starting weapon would be the same. And then we were creating another weapon that would go into the second slot. We stopped doing that. And then what we did was we added, it's a typo. Then what we did was when we buy a weapon, where is it at? Where's reload? That's actually when we're buying the weapon. When we buy the weapon, it just replaces this. It replaces the current slot, and then there's a buy weapon function around here somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's in here. I'm pretty sure it's in here, but I can't find it right now. Is it weaponsmith? Is the weaponsmith where the heck is it at? Oh, that shit's upgraded already. Let's look at the weapon. Where is the actual weapon being bought at? We need to go to the weapon scriptable object. Oh, that's where we need to go. Yeah, the weapon scriptable object. That's where we need to go. Here, weapon interactable. Yeah. This we buy the weapon. Yeah. So we have some stuff commented out, but yeah. But what we did was, so over here the logic, right? So if weapon holster, so if the first slot has a gun in it, second slot has a gun in it, then you can't buy the same one twice. So you have this. So if either one of these slots have whatever gun you're trying to buy in it, you can't do it. You just return, right? But if the first slot has a gun in it, then we'll place the gun in the second slot, and then we call replace it with the reserve. If the first slot does not have this gun in it, then we replace the active slot. In both times, we're going to spend money. And then we need to make sure we add the functionality to put the gun in the player hand, which that comes with animations and IK and all that good stuff. But yeah, this is so this first part right here makes it where you can't buy the same gun twice, and the second part right here makes it to where when you do buy a gun, it puts it in the slot it's supposed to be in. Mostly it's for when the first time you buy a gun during the game, there's nothing in the second slot, so it doesn't replace the first slot. It makes sure it replaces the second slot. Then from here, whenever you're gonna buy a weapon, it would just replace the current active slot. The zombies have some animations now. They have death animations, and they have attack animations, and they actually do damage to the player. We don't have any death logic yet for the player. But we don't want to be over here. We want to be in the animator. We want to be inside of the animator. So they have an attack, and then one thing we did was we go straight from entry to running, so it doesn't have to go walk. Oh, let's check the speed. Speed's too fast. Let's run. Now, whenever they're first spawned in, they go straight to running if they're supposed to be running, and then they have a dying animation too. We didn't do the switch statement for the zombie speed because we couldn't, but we changed the values. So by round 8, or by wave 8, they're pretty fast. Like they're running at you pretty fast. We might have to change these once we do a little bit of testing and all that, but by 8 they're pretty fast. So those are the things that we fixed from last time. I don't think I missed anything. I went over everything. Oh, one big thing we did, one huge change was this right here. So originally, right, if we go to our events, right, we have a zombie events, right? So we had this zombie event called On Zombie Death, right? And we could actually get rid of this whole global event system for the zombies because we're going to handle everything inside Zombie Handler from now on. But we had this whole event, right? And what we did was we called Zombie Death, right? Based on we subscribed to the event. As you can see, we don't subscribe to that event and then we were calling Zombie Death, and what it was doing was it was killing every zombie in the scene. But we don't want that. So now we have a static system for Zombie Handler. So every time a zombie is instantiated or every time a zombie it's spawned with its own event. So when it dies, now we can call all of these events. We can call this one event. The reason why we want to call this event though is because we don't want we don't want to call like zombie death every frame. We want to use an event to slow down on the calling things throughout the like in every update. If you look through the scripts, we try to call the least amount of stuff in update methods as possible. See, there's no update method for this. Try to use the update method as least amount as possible. We're trying to use events, and we're trying to have everything kind of like bounce off of each other, so we're not calling things all the time consistently in the update method. And if it returns false, I called it for no reason. Let's only call it when it needs to be called. You know what I'm saying? So we actually can just get rid of this whole event. But yeah, that should be everything that we everything new. And then the zombies that have attack animation now. And we started working on a quest system, but it's not finished. So we have the quest system right here, but it's not quite finished yet. So once it finishes, I'll probably do a whole video dedicated to just explaining how this quest system worked. This was actually a lot of work, and I put a lot of effort into it. I put a lot of effort into that quest system. I'm putting a lot of effort into the quest system because I want it to be modular enough to where I could use it in a different game if I chose to. We created an ammo cache interactable where it just reloads you pay a little bit of money and it reloads your weapon. You pay 1,000 points and it reloads, it fully reload your weapon. And as you can see, we're using our instance for our weapon holster again for max reload. One thing that I have to do some research on is, does every player get their own instances? Because if not, I'm gonna have to change up my weapon holster script because it's an instance, so every player would get like this right here. Every time we're using a player specific instance, it would update. So we would have to look at that to see how that would work. I had to look into it. I don't think so though. I think if you're doing online, I think every instance would be their own individual instance. So like if there's two players playing in this online multiplayer, both players have their own instance of that. But then that kind of defeats the purpose of instances because then it'll be two game manager instances, two this instances, two that instances. So we'll have to see. But we probably have to get rid of this static instance. We'll have to really factor that. So we fully fleshed out our input system. Every input now has everything we want to do in the game. We have an input system for it. Now, to be honest with you, every input doesn't have actual logic behind it. But we haven't did a crouch. We haven't figured out what we're gonna do for active abilities or passive abilities or even melee. We haven't figured that out. But we have the buttons mapped already, so we have to go through and do that. I didn't have a lot of time one day, but I wanted to work on my game. I wanted to work on this, so this is really what I did. And I also organized it so the same way it is over here in the inspector, it's the exact same, except the exact same order over here. Even the void functions, the void functions are set up in the same order, and then even the events are set up in the same order. Whew. And we went into the input and we assigned everything like we should. See, everything's assigned except for start. That's not assigned, which we can assign right now. Yeah, so that's really what we have. Let's run a little bit. See how this goes. Like and subscribe. Thank you. We have that word, the word, the dialogue panel. You can kill it. See how the zombies have attack animation now? I think the attack range is too far. I think I should make it like 0.2. See, they're attacking me, and I'm like, look at that. They're attacking me, and I'm super far. Like, they can't hit me. So I gotta make the attack range a little bit closer. I'm gonna write that down. Make attack range closer. Maybe something like 0.2. I think it's like 1.5 or something crazy like that right now. See, everything is still works out the same. See, I'm trying to switch to my second weapon, but there's nothing there to switch to. All right, let's shoot these guys. Kill these guys. I at least want to get to around 8 so I can show how the zombies speed up. But I took some time. I actually designed this level. It's 2 rooms. I think the room's a little bigger than like I wanted it to be, but that's why I tried to put like obstacles and stuff inside of it. Oh yeah, and nav mesh. Nav mesh is absolutely amazing. Oh wait a minute. We have to. I got to do something with the animations too, because if they're attacking, then the death animation don't play. What just happened? I just glitched out of the whole game. Okay. Well, as you can see, we still got some things we got to work on, but we are making progress. Making progress. We're not even anywhere near halfway, a quarter of the way done. So I don't know how I glitched to the wall. I gotta look into that. But if you guys are enjoying the content, if you got anything that you think I should add, any code changes you think would be nice, any advice, literally anything, I'll take all advice. I'm really just doing this out of like pure instinct and a lot of guessing, a lot of trial and error, a lot of I think this will work. So, hey, thank you for watching the video.